Hey, brother. Welcome to the Motyv podcast. I'm excited to be here with you again. Another episode that are always frightening and challenging and good for me to sit in front of this microphone and actually show some courage and show up for you, you know? So being a man is already hard enough. And if you don't know this already, the Motyv podcast is here to make it a little easier. And I hope it does, right? Sometimes knowing stuff, though, can overcomplicate things. So if you're ever listening to this and you think, man, I feel like I've taken so much stuff in, but I'm not really applying it, it's feeling overwhelming, right? Like, it's okay to give it a break, too. But just know I'm here to try to help you have a little bit of an easier life because, again, being a man is already hard enough. So to start, I wanted to say, number one, whoever you are listening, thank you. Okay, not for me. But thank you for being you. Thank you for being a man. Thank you for showing up day in and day out. And I know sometimes you show up and it's absolutely pathetic. And other times you show up and it's awesome, but yet you keep showing up. And I'm proud of you because I know how hard it is. Life is difficult and you're needed. You're needed so much. Your presence here is needed. I've had some hard conversations with people lately whose life is a bit in I guess I could say jeopardy, but in their head, their existence is being questioned. Okay, and if that's you, number one, I'm sorry. You also need to talk to somebody. But number two, please know you're needed and you're wanted. And if a lot of people around you aren't showing you that, you got to stop placing your worth in them. I know that's easier said than done. But you are wanted and your life has a purpose. And, think about it too, that every movie you've ever watched, the hero is introduced in the beginning, his life is pretty good, and then it has a big issue that comes up and he's got to solve this problem. And we watch the movie, we read the books to see if the hero will really be the hero of his own life. You're your hero, okay? Nobody else can be the hero of your life. You are. And you might be at that time in your life where the movie feels like, man, this could be it. Maybe he's not going to make it. Maybe he's not going to figure it out. Maybe it's not going to actually work out. But what do we know? It always does. As long as you don't give up. As long as you absolutely never quit trying. So please know that you are the hero of your own life. You are the hero of your own story. And that there are times when, again, like any movie you've ever seen, it feels like, man, I got to give up. So please don't. And know that you're not alone. And if you are alone, please reach out. Try to find some help. I have an amazing quote for you that I absolutely love. This quote has helped me a lot in my life, and it's helping me currently. Holds me accountable in so many ways. And it's from one of my heroes named Neil A. Maxwell, who is an amazing human being and apostle of Jesus Christ. He said, God does not begin by asking us about our ability, but only about our availability. And if we then prove our dependability, he will increase our capability. Okay, let me say that one more time. God does not begin by asking us about our ability, but only about our availability. And if we then prove our dependability, he will increase our capability. Man, we are so focused on our abilities. We are so focused on our capabilities. And then we say, hey, Shaden, I have a struggle believing in myself. It's really hard to have this confidence. And why? Because you know you better than you. Anyone else, right? You know yourself. I should have said it this way. You know yourself better than anyone else. And so you know your faults, you know your strengths, but sadly you focus on your faults a ton. So you're like, hey, do I have the abilities to do these things? Do I have the capability to do these things? I'm there with you. But really, God is saying, actually, I want to know your availability. Because through that availability, I can enhance your ability. I can enhance your capability. And if you can show that you're dependable, that when you are available and I say, hey, please go do this thing, and you keep showing some dependability, man, the God that I believe in then wants to make your capability even more. It's an amazing process. If you don't want to listen to a spiritual podcast today, then you might want to turn this one off, because that's where I'm kind of heading with this. I've been really frustrated lately here at my office because my Wi-Fi has just been a joke. It's been like 3 weeks, and I do a lot of video sessions, and so I'm sitting in my calls, doing these calls with people, and it's blanking out, and I got to go to my phone and jump on my data. So I've been like leaning forward on my phone and like trying to look in my phone, and I hang up the call and my back's almost gone out because I didn't even realize I was like leaning way forward to try to get close to the phone and to see their faces. And it just was a pain. And again, I'd called Comcast, and they came out and they looked at the modem, and they said everything looks fine. And so then I'd come in, get my laptop out, and I would try to do it again. I'd do a Wi-Fi run test, right, to see what it was doing. And sometimes it was like super fast, and other times it wasn't. And I'm like, what is going on? And maybe it's my laptop. And I'm looking at my laptop, and I think it's fine. And for 2 to 2.5, 3 weeks, it's been an issue. And yesterday I got here, and I was like, hey, I have got to figure something out. And I had a simple thought, which was, make sure your laptop is updated. And I kid you not, I had like 2 weeks ago, I think my wife had asked me the same thing. She's like, is your laptop up to date? I'm like, yeah, I just updated it, right? I just did it like not that long ago. Like it has to be. And in my head too, I'm like, even if it wasn't updated, why wouldn't the Wi-Fi, like why would that like limit the Wi-Fi? Like such a basic thing, you know? Well, yesterday I pulled it out, and sure enough, it needed an update. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, is that, I've been 3 weeks now. So sure enough, I click update. My computer takes a long time because the Wi-Fi was so slow, but there was some Wi-Fi, but it updates. And sure enough, guess what happened? It works great. And it's all fixed, and it's all figured out. And it taught me a lesson, right? There's a lot to learn in that. It's a very simple thing, but I realized, man, the power was flowing. Like the internet was flowing. It was there. It was there to help me. It was everything was being done correctly. But the only thing that wasn't there was the availability of my computer. There was something stopping that connection, right? Something was limiting the connection, and therefore it inhibited everything. Whereas in my head, I was like, man, like I blamed it on the Wi-Fi. I blamed it on the internet provider. And how often do we do that in our life, right? When you feel alone, when you feel empty or numb or all those things, and you go and say, man, God, where are you? Like, where are you? And there's this anger that happens and bitterness that occurs that we'll talk about in a minute too. And you can't stop getting out of your head that way, and you think that that's the problem. When really, what if it's your availability? My question to you is this, right? What kills your availability in your life? What is it that kills it? And when I say availability, I am talking about God right now, but I also know that things work in parallel ways. That if I'm unavailable to God, I'm probably unavailable to others. I'm probably unavailable to people who love me and care about me. I'm probably unavailable to myself even in ways. Okay, but for now, I'm focusing too on God. Like, what is it that kills our availability with God? And the number one thing I'm going to tell you right now is bitterness. Bitterness is a massive brick wall between you and God. In Scripture, if you study Scripture, it is not hard to see that within a few chapters almost every time, you will see some form of wording that talks about a hardening of your heart, where God is warning you, do not harden your heart. Over and over, do not have a bitter heart. Don't let it harden. Why? Because God is so perfectly polite that when he feels you say, go away, I'm mad at you, I don't want you, he says, okay, I will honor your wish. He doesn't play games, right? He doesn't play relationship games. So just like sometimes in our human relationships, if you play this game of avoid and run away, you're hoping they'll come chase after you, especially you, right? Especially men. Men, we do that. We withdraw, and then we hope that they'll just come and find us. So maybe they'll come pursue us, and then they'll make us feel loved. Well, hard news to you, but God doesn't do that. He's not going to play games. Now, does that mean he forgets you? No. He's just honoring what you want. And if you're saying, I'm mad at you, go away, he will. Okay, so bitterness to me is a process of prolonged, meaningless suffering, disappointment, and anger. So let me say that again. Bitterness is a process of prolonged, meaningless disappointment, anger, and suffering. Okay, so suffering, disappointment, and anger, those three things, when they come together, suffering, disappointment, and anger, and the key word that I used is meaningless. Okay, now you might think meaningless as in the thing itself had no meaning. What I mean by that is you haven't taken the choice yet and the agency of your own to look into the things that have been creating a lot of suffering and a lot of disappointment and a lot of anger and found the meaning in them. It's a choice. Meaninglessness is a choice. I promise you with everything that I am that every experience we have in life can have meaning. I just did it just barely, right? I just used a simple story with Wi-Fi to make a really, in my opinion, a really clear and I think good point. It's a neat little metaphor, if you will. It helps. It really does help to understand. But if I'm not looking for it to have meaning, then all it is like the Wi-Fi sucked. But it's better than that. There's something to teach you. And in everything in your life can have that. But when we choose not to, then we're suffering, we're disappointed, we're angry. And let's just say, you know who I am. If you've listened to this before, pornography. Pornography has a way of doing that, where you're disappointed with yourself, you're angry, right? You're in this state of suffering. But that's any addiction. Okay, any addiction's going to do that, and that's why what's really scary is addiction can facilitate a ton of bitterness, but bitterness of other things can also facilitate addiction. So what happens is then you're in this state where you haven't chosen to find meaning in it, and your heart actually begins to harden. You begin to protect yourself and say, you know what? I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel this pain anymore. I don't want to feel the disappointment or the betrayal or whatever it could be anymore. And so you stop caring and you say, you know what? I just don't care anymore. And as you begin to say, I don't care, more and more, your heart will become more and more hard. Meaning God's ability to touch your heart, to actually speak to you, to actually connect with you, to guide your life, it's jaded, it's injured, and it's in a state of pending. Because here's the problem with it. God has to wait for you to choose to give up your bitterness. And if you don't give your bitterness up, you will keep it. In fact, it's like a cancer. It just keeps compounding on itself. You just keep experiencing more suffering, more disappointment, and more anger until you're just so bitter and numb at times too, where it just numbs you out. And then you wonder why you can't connect with people, why you can't really give yourself to people. Why is it that when people talk to me, I feel like what they're saying is just like going in one ear and out the other? We actually know from research too, it's pretty powerful, that bitter people die of heart failure. Okay, now does that mean always? No, I'm not saying that it's always. But we do know that the research is clear. When they look at people who have severe heart failure, it is a very common correlation that person throughout a lot of their life had actually been more of a bitter person. Isn't that interesting? That it actually hardens the heart, not just figuratively, but literally. And it's so interesting because this is a whole other, conversation we could have, but the heart is such an interesting organ. We know that it has memory. We know that it actually communicates 4 times more with the brain than the brain communicates with it. It's actually talking to the brain. So if our heart is, I always say, like, if you want to still your brain, still your heart. Like if your heart's running, well, one of the stop buttons that I have found in my life to my brain is my heart. It's kind of weird. And I don't teach it a ton, but at the same, I believe in it. That when my heart is in a contentious place, in a bitter place, in a place that's not good, my brain is getting the signal, okay? And so what my brain is going to do is it's going to start protecting itself. It's going to start guarding itself. One of the phrases that happens inside of you that will let you know that you are in a state of active bitterness is the frequency of which you say, I don't care. So catch yourself, men, because I know whoever you are listening, we have a million different ways of saying, I don't care. There's many different ways of saying it, but you've got to be aware if you are and when you are. And then ask yourself, why is it that I keep saying that, right? Why is it that I keep trying to convince myself that I don't care? Because anybody who's trying to convince themselves they don't care, well, what's actually happening? It's because you do care. And you can't escape that. And having the guts to own the fact that you do care is an incredible decision of courage that'll change your life. It'll change your relationships forever, I promise. So bitterness is one of the areas I see most frequently in men that cuts off their availability with God. So the question is, what do you want to do? Right? What do you want to do with your bitterness? And do you want to change it? And if you do want to give it up, then I will recommend a prayer. I recommend that you go on your knees and you return back to the person that you pushed away and simply talk about it. Don't just cover it up. Admit the fact that you've been bitter and see if you can't talk it through. See where you've been sad. See where you've been disappointed and angry. Talk it through, but also make a commitment that you are going to give it back, that you are done with it. And it's amazing what can happen in that kind of a moment. And I'm here to testify to you that it works. I have done that myself. I'm not going to share a ton, but I will say to you that there came a point in my own life when the trials of my life had come together in such frequency and such intensity that the bitterness took over. And I didn't even see it. Okay, and after my teenage years of struggle, and then having my dad told that he was diagnosed with ALS and was going to die, going on a mission and really having some serious homesickness and anxiety and struggles there that I'm proud that I dealt with, but it was very difficult. And then to come home and to bury my father, and then I went and played baseball, and I was very excited about baseball. In a little junior college in Iowa, and I failed miserably there. It really hurt me a lot, and I felt disowned by coaches. I felt abandoned by coaches. I didn't know what was happening for me, but I was suffering a ton, and that went on too. And then just to find out that my wife and I were unable to have biological children, and going 6-7 years of enduring surgeries and spending lots of money trying to figure this thing out, watching other people have babies that we easily judged and said, why do they get to have a baby and we don't? And then actually meeting my oldest son and having a 2-year period with him and his younger brother where we lived as if we were mom and dad to them and lived with them, but knowing that the state of Georgia could take our babies away at any moment. That was some of the hardest time of my life. Probably it was harder than even losing my dad, because here I was being a father, and watching my wife be a mother to 2 boys that we don't even have yet. Like we hadn't even adopted them yet. And that the state could take them away from us, and I'd have to move back to Utah or move somewhere else and realize that there are 2 boys out there whose father I feel like I am, but don't get to be. And all of these things kind of came together. I was being a good member. I was talking to God, and I was still praying and doing things. But honestly, my heart was hardening. It was because of what I just said. So much disappointment, so much pain, so much anger. And on top of that, a lot of it being meaningless. And I'm proud to say that it's taken a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of journaling, a lot of discussion to actually find the meaning in all of that. It's created who I am today. It's created a lot of compassion. It's created a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge that I would never give back. And it's taught me a lot about me. It's flipped me inside out and made me look at myself. But I do remember the day that I read a scripture in Moroni, and it talked about bitterness in Moroni 7, and it talked about a bitter fountain cannot produce sweet water. I remember thinking, man, even if good water goes in that fountain, if the fountain is bitter, then the fountain will embitter the water. And I realized, yeah, I think God is trying to put a lot of sweet water in me, and I'm embittering it. And it's not producing the sweet water that it was when it entered me. And that's because of me. That's because of my choice. I want all of you that are listening to this to know you're not alone. The bitterness is very real. It's very much a part of our life. You hear me say a lot, you have two choices in life when hard things happen. You get bitter or you get better. And a lot of the men I get to work with have had bouts of a lot of bitter, and they don't realize, oh yeah, that's right. I actually need to get better. I need to figure out how this makes me better rather than just allowing it to make me bitter. And you can too, if you have the courage, not the confidence, the courage. In other words, to do something in the face of the fear, to do something with fear, to see what the reward can be in the end for having done that work. Another area I want to jump into that I think really kills availability is fear. And I could talk about this for hours and hours, and I have. They're probably recorded, right? But fear kills our availability too. And although fear is a massive categorical word and means there's many things to be afraid of, most of the men who I work with, including yours truly, myself, at times in my life, the fear is actually being seen. Many of you have built up masks for years and years and years, trying to protect yourself. There are things about you, inside of you, that you believe deem you unworthy of love. And because of that, you have built up protections. It's called ego. I call them masks as well, ways of being that cover those areas. Those masks are oftentimes used so frequently, nearly always in a lot of cases, that to unmask yourself feels like you're actually walking around naked, as if to be seen for the first time. And so a lot of the men I work with, when they actually come and do the work, they open up and they start to say, man, if I wasn't afraid, I would actually do this, this, and this. I think I would share more love with people. I would connect with people more. I would share my opinions more. I would stand up for myself. I would believe in what I believe in. I would actually show it. I'm like, so what's stopping you? Like, well, I've never done that. And everybody who knows me knows, like, I don't do that. And I'm like, but inside of you, you're saying that's always there. And they're like, yeah, like inside of me though, I know that it's there. And so the fear of being truly seen stops them from showing up and being that person. Well, how does this affect availability, right? If God wants to connect with you so that you can serve other people, that's how he works. You want to be healed? Well, he will heal you a lot of the time through your attempt at helping someone else. When you show up for someone else, or when you show up in just a state of connection, trying to connect with people, trying to take away their loneliness, trying to just be a good friend, to be a good man, someone who's willing to serve people, whatever that looks like, it's an outward expression. It's an act of vulnerability. But if I'm so busy hiding myself, then I'm unavailable. Because he knows I could tell Shaden to do that, but Shaden has built up such a guard in himself to protect these insecurities that he thinks he has, that even if I told it to him, he'd be like, yeah, thanks, God. I see what you mean, but I'm not going to. So ironically, right? Do we wait to be fearless to then do those things? We can't. Or if I said it differently, are we only available when we're fearless? No. Okay. One thing we can do is actually tell God, okay, I'm working through this. I need to face this ego. I need to face these fears because the life I'm supposed to live is in here. I can feel it. I think it. I even have ideas of what I could do. I had somebody I wanted to say hi to and I chose not to. There's these glimpses and promptings happening inside of me that are trying to liberate me, trying to pull me out, and I keep saying no to them. And it's hurting people because of you're not showing up. And so if you tell him, please help me to come through this. Let me have the courage. Give me the courage to face these things. I promise he will. In our Easter Sunday the other day, it was really cool. One of my good friends. Justin, he's amazing. He's a savant with piano. He's self-taught, and he can just hear it and he can play it, and it's amazing. Little did I know that Justin actually sings, and little did I know because nobody knew, because Justin only sings at his house. So for Easter Sunday, he memorized this awesome Christian worship song, and he came up to the piano, and everybody thought he's just going to play the piano like he normally does. But then I saw him putting a microphone in front of his face, just like this, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to sing. And sure enough, Justin sang. Nobody knew that he could. And was he perfect? Not even close. Was he always on pitch? Nope. But I will tell you what, he belted, rejoice, rejoice, over and over, that the Lord is risen. Rejoice. And he'd say it over and over and over again. And it was loud. And here's Mr. Quiet Justin, that if anybody knows who I'm talking about, who knows me, he's not super loud. He's does his thing, kind of quiet, but he has the guts to show up in his white shirt and tie, sit in a church building, and belt out at the top of his lungs, rejoice, for the Lord is risen. And when he got done and our sacrament meeting was done, I went down to him, and I could tell he was maybe probably going to see me, give him a high five or something. But I said, come here, man. And I gave him a huge hug. Because anyone who shows up like that has absolute respect in my books. To show up and put your ego on the line and say, here I am. This is what I'm going to do for a higher cause. You have my respect. Hopefully that cause is good, right? Hopefully that cause is worthy. But even if it isn't, there's still an element of courage in it. And he did that. And you can too. So whatever it is that your solo song needs to be, go find it and go sing it. Whatever that is. Every day, there's a chance for you to do something that will feel a little bit like singing a solo. And that is the way. That isn't what you avoid. That is what you lean into. And you will find liberation on the other side of it, I promise. And you will find availability with God, I promise. Another one I want to talk about is desire. Right? What do you want is one of the most profound questions, in my opinion, in all of the English language. It's not even English, right? It's in human beings. I'll say that. What do you want? Right? Do you know what you want? It's the battle of a lifetime. I have found that my availability and the availability of many others is limited by one of two things. I either don't want to be available with God, or number two, I am so available with other meaningless things, or less meaningful things, I'll say it that way, than what he wants, that my bandwidth, to use an internet pun, is gone. So I've made myself available to too many things, and now I'm unavailable for God. That to me is happening at a level we've never experienced in our life. How many of you, honestly, listen, how many of you miss COVID? I do. Do I miss the masks? Heck no. Do I miss all of the political crap? No. But you know what I'm talking about. What do most all of us miss about COVID? We didn't have to go anywhere. Things got canceled. We just stayed home, and we played with our neighbors. We hung out with people. We made sure everyone was doing okay. And for a lot of people, when they look back at that time, there's some envy. And you know what? I think it's right. We should be. Like that's how humans are supposed to be. We are unavailable by our choosing to be available for things that bring us very little. That, or we simply choose that we don't want to be available to him. Hands down. So whatever that does to you, if there's something that's brought up for you, that you know what? You're right. My availability with God, which is now affecting my capability, as we know, has been limited a lot by this thing that I honestly need to give up. It needs to just be given away. And that's called faith, because you don't know what's going to happen on the other end. But I promise you the reward of being used by God is far greater than anything else. I promise. The last area that you well know of about me that's gonna really kill your availability is addiction. When we are addicted to something, it takes our mind, it takes our presence, it takes our focus. It actually becomes our purpose a lot of the time. And because of that, it's very difficult for us to listen to God because we are constantly thinking about what to do to solve this problem. Or on the flip side of the addiction, we're constantly thinking about what to do to go get that addiction, to go feed myself again, over and over. And then once it's done, how do I figure out how to hide myself from being caught in the addiction? Or how do I minimize and justify my decision? Or I'm also now in my head shaming and punishing myself for having relapsed in whatever that addiction would be. Do you think there's time in there for availability? Nope. And again, I will tell you, does that mean you have to be free of your addiction to be available? No, that's the irony. It's your will. If you choose to say, God, I want to be available, and I actually believe that availability could actually pull me out of this addiction far better than me ruminating on it all the time, He will. And I'm here to tell you that that is part of the process. You can't wait to be healed to do the things that you would do if you were healed. Part of being healed is doing what healing looks like even before you've been healed. And as God is my witness, He will heal you when you believe that He can. He's available to heal what you make available. Are you willing to provide that availability to Him? Might be one of the most important questions you ever answer. And I promise it'll change your life. I'm obsessed with this quote. I'll read it one more time. God does not begin by asking us about our ability, but only about our availability. And if we then prove dependability, He will increase our capability. I want to live a meaningful life. A meaningful life requires ability. It requires capability. To have capability means I'm an instrument. But as He says, the baseline of all of this, the first step of all is availability. And I think we as men can take a step back, stop obsessing about what we make, about all the things in our life that make our ability amazing, that make our capability amazing, and trust a little bit that God can make way more out of us than you can make out of you if you allow yourself to be available to Him. Go do it. Go be available. We'll see you on the next one.